go ahead and talk about these receivers real quick, man. It's your boy Chance from Duval Dogs Podcast, and we about to talk about them pass catchers right now, man. Your boys Parker Washington, BTJ, Jacoby Myers, a little bit of Travis Hunter, man. Tim Patrick, see what that boy got going on. Yeah, I feel like the Jacksonville Jaguars can have one of the best wide receiver corps in the entire league this year. When it comes to high-end talent like T. Higgins and Jamar Chase with Jordan Addison and Justin Jefferson, A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, like we have that talent, we have that capability, but I believe the only person truly that has that upside when it comes to that wide receiver one, the A.J. Browns, Justin Jeffersons, those guys, we have two of them. One is going to be completely on defense and have a role on offense, and then the other one, VTJ, had a down year, which I don't believe he'll have a down year. I don't believe he'll have such a bad year this year. Granted, he had a beautiful rookie season. It happened on the back end of that season, and we thought it was going to go into the season 2025 season, and it just didn't happen. But the reality of the fact is, we knew he was about a double catcher, and we hope that he breaks out of that. Another thing is, he had 707 yards with 2 touchdowns this past year, and he missed 4 games. Now, if you average that out, it's about 50 yards a game. To get 1,000 yards, it's about 60-something yards a game. So he wasn't too far off. He wasn't. If this is his bad year, if this is a bad year for BTJ, I'll take it. You get what I'm saying? Like if this is his floor, if 707 yards is his floor, I'll take it. Now, do I want him to have another year like this or anything similar to this? No, because we're looking to him to be a deep threat, a consistent dog on the outside of the hashes. We need that. We have dogs in the middle. We have Jacoby Myers. We have Parker Washington. We have Brenton Strange. And I like Quentin Morris as well. He shows a little pop. We need to give him a little more love on the tight end side of things. But and we have Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter, he didn't really act as a deep threat, but he took care of the middle of the field. He did the possession work, the yak work, all those things. But I believe we can have a really, really good, I'd say top 10 bare minimum wide receiver core, right? So I'm going to go over a few things with you guys. The 2025 season for Parker Washington was 847 yards, 5 touchdowns, right? I'm going to grab my iPad and put it over here so y'all can hear me on the mic. Brian Thmoas Jr. already said 707 yards with 2 touchdowns, missed 4 games. If he averaged out that same 50 yards a game, he would have ended the season and played every game. He would have ended the season with 909 yards. You know, I mean, come on. Jacoby Myers, when everything is calculated in Raiders and the Jaguars, it was 835 yards and 3 touchdowns. And then Travis Hunter, of course, only played a few games, handful of games with 298 yards and 1 touchdown, right? So what I'm getting at is we have a lot of potential. We have dang near 3 receivers that got fairly close to 1,000 yards, 3 of them. One had 835, one was 707, and the other one was 847. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and the one that was the lowest, 707, missed 4 games. He would have had 909 on average if everything went how it was going initially. So you looking at 909, 847, and 835. We can have one of the best um, all-around wide receiver course in the league. These are the stats I'm predicting for the next year. Granted, if they get a new receiver, it'll probably come in the form of a rookie, probably deeper in the draft, unless somebody falls to us. That just is ridiculous. I'm not 100% sure who are the big dogs when it comes to receivers, because I'm not really checking for them right now. I'm really looking at defense, because that's why I feel like a lot of our problems lie. And that's what we need to bolster up. Our offense is pretty solid all around. But yeah, so for Parker Washington, 2026 season, I believe he'll get 1,000 plus yards with 10 touchdowns. I love Parker Washington. I'm gonna look at him as more of a contested catch guy or yak guy. I think he's going to get a lot more touchdowns this year, because he's going to be a focus in the from the beginning of the season to the end. He's not one of those guys that's going to freeze up when the moments get big. He's been a dog since Penn State days, and I'm sure in high school as well. But he's had solid, not even solid, very good hands since I've laid eyes on him in Penn State. One hand catches, contested catches, whatever you want, deep balls, all these things. His hands are superb. We have a lot of good receivers with really good hands. So that's something that's not something that just drops off the side of the earth. He has great hands. He gets open. He gets yak. He's going to get 1,000 yards coming from week 1 to week 18, with him being a focal point in the system. He's going to amass 1,000 yards, hands down, barring any injury. 1,000 yards, 10 touchdowns is coming his way. He's a red zone threat, not because of his size, but just because of his hands and his body contortion when it comes to finding the ball, getting the ball, and bringing the ball in. His hands are very strong that way. We got Brian Thmoas Jr. Now, I told you Brian Thmoas Jr. has 707 yards and missed 4 games. If he is healthy, which is a wild card, you never know, he would have had around 900 and something yards, some change. And let's say 4 touchdowns, because he only had 2 touchdowns the entire year. So I'm saying right now that we'll have 2,000-yard receivers this year, and it'll be Parker Washington and Brian Thmoas Jr. Will Brian Thmoas Jr. have a superb year like he did for his rookie year? It's hard to tell, but I don't see someone who has that type of talent and the mindset to even become a wide receiver one in the league to have 2 bad years back to back after having a 1,200-yard season. And even that season, his rookie season, it really ramped up in the middle of the season, kind of like Parker Washington's. Parker Washington would have easily had 1,000 yards if they would have made him a focal point, but they kind of treated him like a stepchild for the last 3 years. Each regime did that for whatever reason. Maybe he didn't know the playbook, I don't know, but his talent was always there. And of course, yeah, Christian Kirk was the mainstay, and I guess they prioritized contracts, but yeah, I can't really speak on that. I guess the last regime is focused on contracts, and this regime didn't know who they had until towards the end of the year. Even though they said they saw him as a dog in training camp, it doesn't kind of add up to me. You saw a dog in training camp, but he only started getting real reps and real targets towards the end of the year. You do the math. I can't. So I believe he'll have 1,000. Brian Thmoas will have 1,000 yards and 6 touchdowns. Parker Washington will have 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns. The reason I have Parker Washington having more touchdowns than BTJ is Parker Washington is a better contested catcher, and he's better at yak as well. Yes, Brian Thomas has a deep speed, but deep passes are very rare in the league. They happen, um, but they're very rare, and there's a very rare chance that you catch a deep pass and get to continue to run. Either you catch a deep pass and it's a touchdown, or you catch a deep pass and you're diving, or you getting shoestring tackled, or like somebody's in your hip, something like that, or it's a contested catch. You know how it goes. So we'll have Jacoby Myers next, and he honestly has a really good year as well with 850 yards and 6 touchdowns. That's a Jacoby type year. The tough yards, contested catches. He's decent in yak, but he didn't really break loose this year. You could tell he had a little wiggle. If somebody missed a tackle, he would have showed a little something. But he's third. He probably with this receiving core, he probably the last one outside of Tim Patrick, the last on the list as far as yak goes, because when it comes to BTJ, he has wiggle. He played running back in high school. He can break a tackle or two and get loose. Travis Hunter is ridiculous with the ball in his hands, and Parker Washington is the same with the ball in his hands. So, not saying Jacoby Myers is bad at yak. It's just we got 3 other dudes who are just ridiculous with yak, which is really cool, like really dope to see the Jaguars come from no shade, but the D.D. Westbrooks, the Moncrief, the Dante Moncriefs, the Marquise Lees of the world, and to come from that to from us being excited. I used to be excited about I was excited about Dante Moncrief being signed to the Jaguars back in 2018, 19 or something like that. I don't know when that was, but yeah, to having 4 receivers that run circles around, those guys. I love Keelan Cole. I love D.D. Westbrook, but those guys aren't these guys, and that's just the fact of the matter. And then we have, of course, Travis Hunter coming to the offense in spurts. I have him with 500 yards, 4 touchdowns. Something smooth, nothing too crazy. We don't expect him to have a huge role in the offense unless something goes terribly wrong, unless, God forbid, we trade Brian Thmoas Jr. or something insane like that. But honestly, I don't think that we would go out and say Brian Thmoas Jr. Travis Hunter would be a full-time cornerback if we didn't believe in Brian Thmoas Jr. I think they believe in Brian Thmoas Jr. and we're not going to force feed him the ball, but when he is open, when we call a post, when we call a post corner, when we call one of those plays where he's one-on-one or the safety is late getting over, we should be tossing the ball up to him and seeing what we got. Show him that we got confidence in him, and he should have confidence in himself. I don't know what happened last year. I know he got blown up in the preseason against the Steelers, come across the middle. I remember watching the pivot, and he came into the pivot after that game limping. This man was limping after that game. This dude was banged up. That dude crushed him, man. Like, if I was that safety, that would be on my highlight tape for the rest of my life. Like, this dude ended him before the season started. So I'm not sure if it was, his friend passing, all those personal issues. A lot of us forget that these dudes are just normal dudes that run fast and are big and can catch the ball. Like, that's when it comes to and are dedicated. When it comes to them being football players or just human beings, that's the only thing they have on us. They go through the same things we go through. Money does not fix everything. Money sometimes makes things worse, depending on who your family is. So when a lot of these dudes come from nothing. I'm not speaking on Brian Thmoas Jr. I'm speaking on just in general these dudes' mental health. they come from nothing. They come from, only meal they getting is from the free lunch line in school for the last 8 years, and then they have thousands and thousands and millions of dollars, and they getting that weekly, and their family need help. They've never touched this amount of money. They don't know what to do with it. They come into the league depressed. They come into the league poor. Not much anymore because of the NIL, but it's a lot of, it's a lot that we don't just think about when it comes to players. Them as people. They're people. Their girlfriend can cuss them out on the way to the game. They get out the car and got all that on their mind. You feel what I'm saying? Like it's $1 million not gonna stop you from thinking about the argument you just had last night, or a phone call from your uncle saying, "Yo, auntie in the hospital." A call from one of your homeboys saying your friend just passed away, in a tragic fashion. Like you can't put $1 million in my pocket and tell me to forget about that. You get what I'm saying? So these are things that just happen. Injuries are an extreme part of this game as well, and some people take it differently. Some people hop back from an injury and say, "Hey, if I get hit again, I get hit again." Some people, break their collarbone, get the surgery, come back in 6 weeks, and never want to feel that pain ever again. You get what I'm saying? The doctor tells them you can't get hit like that anymore. You got to protect yourself. You got to go down. You get what I'm saying? Some of those injuries are the worst pain you've ever felt in your life. And we're asking these dudes to just operate on an optimum level, like it's nothing. When we get a hangnail, when we get a paper cut, it hurt to put our seatbelt on. You want these dudes to get a high sprained ankle and run 20 miles per hour and cut on a dime and wonder why they can't when going against the best corners known to man. You get what I'm saying? It's just I fractured my pinky my sophomore year, and I couldn't. The day it happened, I couldn't put my seatbelt on my right hand. I just couldn't. You know what I'm saying? So, and we asked these dudes to just do whatever we think they should do, and it's just not realistic. And like I told you guys before, I've been a coach. I've done strength and conditioning. I've done all these things coach-wise, and so I see these things, and I see these boys on a human level, these men on a human level, and I know what they're going through, and I know that it's not as simple as people want it to be. You get what I'm saying? So just put that in perspective. I think BTJ will bounce back from that, from whatever he got going on. Maybe he may not be the wide receiver one we thought he was. He may be. I believe he can be, for sure. It's a lot more mental involved, especially when it comes to being nicked up and getting hit and going across the middle. That's all mental. He's physically able to do whatever you want him to do. He's physically a Hall of Famer, talent. You get what I'm saying? And no shade or no disrespect to the Hall of Famers, but we're talking about 6'3", 6'2", 205-pound receiver with that runs a 4.33 and can actually catch the ball, can actually get open, can actually run routes in the middle of the field, get open in the middle of the field, beat someone deep, make contested catches. This dude can do it all. So it's not about me saying that he's Hall of Fame just because he's fast and big. He's proven that he could do it. You know what I'm saying? And so no disrespect to those guys, but Hall of Famer is just about consistency. Having that talent and being consistently good at it. So yeah, no disrespect to the actual Hall of Famers, but his talent is Hall of Fame level. You get what I'm saying? It's Hall of Fame receivers that wish they had the talent, raw talent, that Brian Thmoas Jr. has, and that's just facts. You can't tell me Jerry Rice didn't wish he was 6'2" and ran a 4.33. He may do it, but he had. But I guarantee you, if he could choose to be 6'2" and run a 4.33, he would. He'll be a better player than what he was, and he was already a great player. But that's all I'm saying. But yeah, I believe the Jaguars will have a top 10 wide receiver core, two receivers that go over 1,000 yards. I'm not sure if we had. Oh, we did have that, Allen Robinson and Allen Hurns. And let's be for real. I believe that our receivers we have a good receiving core, and we can have 2,000-yard receiving receivers. But after I just said those names, and no disrespect to those guys, but when you put up Allen Hurns and Allen Robinson with BTJ and Parker Washington, you're choosing Parker Washington and BTJ every time. In their prime, every time. So, yeah, 2,000-yard receivers, another one with 800, and another one, a part-time receiver with 500. And, of course, Tim Patrick will do his duties. And it'll be a fun year. It'll be an explosive year. This is gonna be insane. Like, I'm not just being super optimistic. I feel like this is super. I don't know what word I was going to say, but it's definitely doable. And not just doable, but it's a proven track record. Because, like I said, the biggest factor is BTJ. Being who he showed us to be his rookie year, and last year he did 707 with missing 4 games. So if he played the full season, he would have been 200, 300 shy of who he was the year prior. So it is what it is. It's Duval Dogs Podcast. Check me out on the next video. I'm out.